Remember, this was one of the 3 drone carriers that Iran has. It continues to target these particular Iranian targets which are being decimated by the US forces. This is the periscopic visual that we have, and look at the thermal imaging that the US Central Commander shared. I'm going to play this, Ayushman, for our viewers. Look at the kind of impact this has sustained.
Absolutely, and these are the aerial strikes coming in from the different American warheads, primarily even the THAAD missile, as Haim was also pointing out. These are taking out the different missile launchers inside Iran, because this seems to be, Haim, the next phase of the entire conflict, because while you've taken out the military installations, while you've taken out the different nerve centers inside Iran when it comes to command and control, the entire IRGC military infrastructure and command and control has gone underground. There are several underground bases and bunkers where they are now also coordinating these efforts. And these are these mobile units which are being used to launch these drones as well as missiles against several areas in Israel, the US bases in the Middle East, as well as the energy infrastructure across the Arab world. These are all these mobile launch devices which have these small drones with heavy explosive power, which are taking on those military installations as well as the energy infrastructure across the Middle East. This has become a potent tool of the IRGC to exact its revenge, as well as raise the cost of the conflict for both Israel and the United States. And it's the aim of both the US and the Israeli forces is to take out these mobile units. But you might take out like 100 of them in a couple of days. But Iran has the capacity to just mobilize more ways to launch those drones. Remember, you don't need an extensive truck to launch these drones. You just need a mobile vehicle. You can do it at the top of a car as well. You can retrofit one of these drones on top of a car and go to the edge of the border near the Strait of Hormuz and launch that drone at any ship, any naval base, or any other military installation. This is the explosive capacity that Iran currently has, but at the same time, these targeted strikes also expanding across Iran from the United States and Israel, but they are also running out of munitions as well as those advanced weaponry. Iran playing down the advanced nature of its weaponry, and what it's doing is that using these homemade drones, similar to what Hezbollah does in Lebanon, to target this energy infrastructure as well as the military bases across the Middle East. So that seems to be the tactic that Iran is using, this war of attrition that is only expanding in the Middle East. And this is the sight that everyone has to see when it comes to the expanding ambit of this conflict in the Middle East. Haim, so that is the capability that Iran currently holds when it comes to targeting these different areas, but the United States and Israel also hitting back.
Right, we're also getting some more visuals which are being shared. The Fujairah oil industry zone in the UAE, these are the visuals that we're getting for you right now. You can see that these have increasingly come under target as well. Look at the kind of damage that they've sustained as well. Let me share another image that was shared, also shows the kind of wreckage that we're seeing at Fujairah. So here is the image that we're looking at.
Right, and this is the Fujairah oil field, which has come under multiple attacks from Iran. And despite the fact that military assets have been mobilized around this area, you can see how the drones, these are loitering munitions, they fly under the radar and they're able to cause this level of damage at the oil infrastructure. And this, once again, just the visual of this and the fact that the entire oil field has become an unsafe area, it sends shockwaves across energy markets. And this seems to be one of the crucial tactics of the Iranian regime. General Singh is also with us on the broadcast. So General Singh, you can see the explosive power of the drones which are being employed, the Shahad drones employed by the Iranian regime. Low-cost drones, heavy production, almost 10,000 can be produced in a month. And these are the shockwaves they are causing across the Middle East.
See, basically what is baffling or little surprising is the degree of preparation which Iran seems to have done. It was known from June, July attack onwards that there may be another round. So Iran has used this time to map out all the American assets, their bases. And like people say, Israel has done thorough preparation. It appears that Iran has also done thorough preparation. And it is also delegated authority. It had catered for something like this. After all, the top command structure is gone completely. Yet, there is response, there is resilience. And how's it happening? Uh, so obviously there is some amount of redundancy in their command and control, where they are able to communicate, and also delegation which has been done. So all in all, it's worrying for America, because this indicates that war would stretch on,
Right.
and uncertainty will multiply.
Right.
So, yeah.
And it's growing exponentially. The uncertainty of the entire conflict, the stated objectives, and what will be the end game. That is something that is completely uncertain. I want to get my colleague Akanksha on these visuals as well that we are getting from Fujairah. Akanksha, the explosive nature of those drones being launched by Iran, at the same time, it plays into what investigations editor Manoj Gupta was also pointing out, that Khamenei had this contingency plan in place in the event that he was assassinated.
Absolutely. And going by the escalatory nature, the domino effect of this overall conflict, what we can tell our viewers, that they seem to be certainly much better prepared, if not as much as the US and Israel, but more than at least the United States' own Middle Eastern allies. Going by the way they are targeting not just oil refineries, they are targeting civilian localities, whether that's planned or not, even though Iran maintains that they are not planning to target any of the civilians. But more importantly, it's the refineries, it's the US air bases that are being targeted. And even though the US CENTCOM has been firmly maintaining that their B-1 and B-2 bombers, even the B-52 bombers, have been able to eliminate the Iranian missiles and their own capacity to attack. 85% of their drones, they're saying the drone attacks have reduced. 90% of their missile attacks have reduced. But you know, much of that still needs to be backed by evidence, because going by the information that's continuously trickling in, the attacks from Iran are continuing very much in Middle East. We'll have to see why CENTCOM is even able to make that kind of a sweeping claim at the moment.
Absolutely. These are claims also in the fog of war. It's part of the psyops that are played from both sides. But if you go back to those visuals, you can see the explosive powers I've been pointing out when it comes to those Iranian drones. And him, at the end of the day, the Arab nations, they are not feeling secure. They were supposed to be protected by the United States when it comes to the energy infrastructure, because they are pretty much the gatekeepers of the energy markets of the world. This is not sending a great message to American allies in the Middle East.
Absolutely, and of course, it offers certain clues, as Akanksha was mentioning as well, of the operational capabilities of Iran at this point as well, because for the United States to come out and say that 90% of the attacks also, it's come down 90%, now that's a huge claim to make, especially when we're seeing the kind of devastation that we are in these visuals that are coming out.
Right, absolutely. And this is Fujairah oil base. This has been attacked multiple times by the United States. You also have the other oil bases in Saudi Arabia, as well as Oman and other parts of the UAE as well as the strikes on the carriers, as well as the oil tankers in the Strait of Hormuz. So Iran using the drone strikes as a very potent tool in raising the cost of the war for the United States. This war of attrition only escalating from the Iranian side, while the United States and Israel are running out of their munitions, is what we are learning, because the defense contractors are being roped in to develop new THAAD missiles. But as my colleague Sanjay Suri was pointing out, developing new advanced warfare assets will take 1 or 2 years. So is the entire presidency of Donald Trump now going to be mired in the Iranian conflict? That is the big question that emerges as the cost of war as well as the tensions are only escalating.